Imagine a world without heaters, without insulated jackets, without even a proper bed. Just you, a soldier, surrounded by icy winds in a flimsy tent, knowing that tomorrow you may fight for your life. Yet tonight, you face a different enemy, the cold. How did medieval soldiers survive nights that could freeze a man to death? This is the untold story of survival, resilience, and human ingenuity on the front lines of history. Medieval warfare wasn't just about clashing swords and charging horses. It was about endurance. A campaign could last for weeks, even months, and soldiers often faced freezing nights that claimed more lives than the battlefield itself. Chroniclers of the 100 Years' War noted that entire companies were lost, not from enemy steel, but from hypothermia. In fact, historians estimate that for every night killed in combat, up to 3 men might perish from exposure, starvation, or disease. The tents themselves offered little protection. Most were made of canvas or oilcloth, designed to block rain but not the bitter cold. Soldiers layered straw beneath them to trap warmth from the ground. They wore woolen cloaks and fur-lined hoods, the medieval equivalent of thermal gear. Some even slept side by side, shoulder to shoulder, believing body heat was their strongest shield against night. Fire was life. Small braziers or central campfires were carefully maintained, with guards assigned to keep them burning. Without fire, the army froze. With it, they survived. Yet fire also carried danger, smoke, suffocation, or even burning down the canvas shelters. It was a delicate balance, a nightly gamble between safety and survival. Centuries later, the struggle remains familiar. During World War I, men in the trenches endured frostbite and freezing nights, echoing the hardships of their medieval ancestors. Even today, modern armies train for cold weather survival, carrying forward the same eternal battle between man and nature. History remembers great battles, kings, and empires, but often forgets the quiet endurance of ordinary soldiers who fought a different war each night. A war against the cold, against hunger, against despair. Their story is not one of glory, but of survival, and it is in their resilience, in their ability to face the impossible, that we discover the true strength of the human spirit. For even in the coldest nights, humanity found a way to endure. Under the shadow of swords and shields, there was another battlefield that history rarely mentions. Cold. Long before armies clashed at dawn, the bitter nights took their toll. Many medieval soldiers were lost not because of an enemy's blade, but because their bodies could no longer fight the freezing air. Chroniclers wrote of men collapsing in the morning, their forms stiff in the chill, their strength gone without a single strike from the foe. In some campaigns, the cold was more relentless than steel, claiming lives quietly in the dark when no one could fight back. Imagine a soldier wrapped in only a woolen cloak, lying on frozen ground with nothing but straw beneath him. The canvas tent overhead was thin, hardly a shield against the sharp winds that cut through armor and cloth alike. As the night deepened, the fire outside would burn low, and the bitter air crept in. Soldiers pressed closer together, shoulder to shoulder, not for companionship, but for warmth. Survival became a silent struggle, fought hour by hour until the first light of day. Historical accounts remind us that this was not rare. During the 100 Years' War, entire units were weakened before battle even began, simply because men froze during long campaigns. Disease often followed the cold, as weakened bodies became easy prey for illness. It was a hidden war within a war, one that no commander could fully control. And yet, in these moments of suffering, the resilience of medieval soldiers stood out. Each dawn meant they had survived nature's trial. This quiet endurance, unseen in grand tales of battles and kings, was just as vital to the course of history. It was here in the icy silence of night that human endurance was truly tested. When the cold pressed hardest against them, medieval soldiers had to rely on every bit of knowledge and instinct to make it through the night. Their tents, made from canvas or oilcloth, gave little protection against freezing winds. So men quickly learned to build layers of defense inside. Straw or hay was scattered on the ground to keep their bodies from direct contact with the frozen earth, a simple yet vital barrier against the loss of warmth. Over that, cloaks of wool and sometimes fur-lined garments became their armor against nature, wrapped tightly around shoulders and faces to hold in what little heat they had. But it was not only the materials they used, it was also how they positioned themselves. Soldiers often slept in tight groups, lined side by side, sharing body heat and silence. It may not sound like much, yet for many, it meant the difference between waking a fight or never waking at all. Fire, too, was essential. Campfires or small braziers were carefully tended throughout the night, sometimes guarded by men assigned to keep the flames alive. Too large, and it risked catching the tent. Too small, and could flicker out before dawn. Soldiers even carried embers from one camp to another, a glowing reminder of warmth in the bleakest hours. These were not luxuries but survival skills, learned by men who had little choice but to adapt. Each night became a battle against nature, and their success at keeping warm often shaped the strength of an army by morning. What may seem like small, ordinary acts, laying straw, wrapping cloaks, guarding the fire, were in truth acts of endurance, proving that survival in war was not only about weapons, but about finding ways to withstand the cold's unrelenting grip. The struggle against the cold did not end with the medieval world. What soldiers endured in their canvas tents echoes across the centuries, reminding us that survival in harsh climates has always been a constant test of endurance. During the First World War, men shivered in waterlogged trenches, their boots frozen to ground, frostbite claiming limbs before bullets could. The stories sound eerily familiar. Cold nights where soldiers huddled together, burning whatever scraps of wood or cloth they could find, just as their medieval counterparts had done centuries earlier. Even modern armies, armed with advanced gear, insulated clothing, and heated shelters, continue to prepare for the same challenge. Military training in the Arctic or high mountain regions still teaches lessons that medieval soldiers knew all too well. Without warmth, the strongest warrior becomes weak, and an army loses its power before ever facing its enemy. The methods have evolved: lightweight tents, sleeping bags designed to trap body heat, portable heaters. But the principle remains unchanged. Survival depends on protecting the human body from the merciless grip of cold. What makes this continuity striking is not only the similarity of the struggle, but also the resilience it reveals about human nature. Whether in the Middle Ages or in modern wars, soldiers learned to adapt, to share warmth, and to endure nights that seemed endless. Their quiet determination carried them through conditions that would break many. This thread of endurance ties us across time, proving that while weapons, strategies, and kingdoms have changed, the battle against nature has always demanded the same courage. It is this hidden endurance, far from the roar of the battlefield, that truly shows how humanity has managed to survive one freezing night at a time. When we picture medieval war, our minds often leap to clashing swords and thunderous charges. Yet the truest test of a soldier was often fought in silence, beneath the weight of night and the bite of cold. Those men who survived the darkness endured not only for themselves, but for the armies that depended on their strength at dawn. Their struggle reminds us that history is not just about battles won or lost. It is about the human spirit refusing to yield. And that same question still lingers for us today. If placed in their tents on frozen ground, will we have survived a night